طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجميع. إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. صدق الله العظيم. Allah Azze ve Celle ondan korkanlardan onlarla hayır yapanlarla beraberdir.
Allah Almighty is with those who are fearful of Him and with those who do good.
Allah Azze ve Celle Allah'tan korkan insan kimseye zarar vermez.
Allah Almighty, there will be no harm to those who are fearful of Allah Almighty.
Herkese iyilik yapmaya uğraşır.
The one who is fearful of Allah Almighty is the one who tries to do good towards everyone.
Bunlar Allah'ın sevdiği kullar, Allah'ın evliyalarıdır.
And those who are fearful of Allah Almighty, those who do not do harm to anyone, and those who only do good to others are the ones whom Allah Almighty loves, and they are the true saints, they are the true awliya.
Söylemesi kolay ama
these are easy words to utter,
çoğu zaman yapması zor oluyor.
but it is many times difficult to live accordingly.
O insanları bulmak zor olur.
It is difficult to find such people.
Çünkü nefis insanı yoldan çıkarır.
Because the ego will make you go astray.
Azdırır.
Your ego will make you go wild and not listen to Allah Almighty's orders.
Kendini bir şey zannedip
The ego will make you think of yourself to be something,
kendi kafasına göre de nefsinin emrine göre
and the ego will force you to obey his commands. People may be thinking that they are following their own minds, but it is the ego who makes them follow and obey its own orders.
gider. Öyle olunca da yaptığı işlerde fayda olmaz.
And the moment you obey the orders of your egos, then there is no benefit or blessing in those things that you do.
Emirle Allah Azze ve Celle'nin emrini yerine getirmiş olur. O kadar ama ondan ötesi şey kalmaz, fazilet kalmaz.
And by following your ego, you're losing the benefits and the blessings and the virtues of the good that you may do. Even if you may fulfill the orders of Allah Almighty, the moment you do it for your ego, that very moment you may have fulfilled that order, but you will have lost all the blessings and the rewards and virtues because you followed and did it for your ego.
Allah'ın rızası olmaz.
Then, by following your ego, you will not have obtained the satisfaction and pleasure of Allah Almighty.
Nefsinin peşine gidip nefsinden mağrur olan insan,
The one who follows his ego, the one who boasts with his ego, will not obtain Allah Almighty's satisfaction.
kibirlenen insan, bütün yaptıkları faydasız olur.
Everything a person does, everything a person who boasts with his ego, everything a person who is proud does will lose its value and its benefits and its blessing.
Kendini kurtarabilir, bazen de kurtaramaz.
And maybe that person with boastfulness and his pride may in the end save himself, but many times he may not save himself.
Ona tabi olanlar da, tabi olan varsa başkalarına da tabi öyle oluyor çünkü gurur Allah Azze ve Celle'nin sevmediği sıfatlardandır.
Pride and boastfulness is a quality characteristic, it's a vice that Allah Almighty dislikes. And it is not only to the detriment of the one who boasts about his actions, but also it's to the detriment and harmful to those who follow that boastful person.
O sıfatlar insanın yaptığı bütün işleri heba etmesine vesile olur.
And boastfulness and pride is the reasons to lose the blessings and the benefits and the rewards of the deeds one may do.
Ve şeytanın bir hilesidir.
Boastfulness and pride are the means of shaitan.
Mehmed ki insanlara hiçbir fayda olsun istemez.
They are the devices and means of shaitan to derive people from the blessings and the rewards.
Devamlı kendisi gibi yaptığı bütün işler faydasız bir iş olsun diye ister.
Shaitan wants people to be in a despicable state, in the miserable state he himself is, in a state where there is no blessings and no benefit in what one does.
Yani bazen faydasız olur, bazen de zararlı olur.
And sometimes then what a boastful person does is either harmful or it has no benefit.
O insanlar Allah'tan korkmadıkları için
only a person who is not fearful of Allah Almighty is a person who can become boastful and proud.
Her türlü kötülük yapabilir.
And those who are not fearful of Allah Almighty may do any kind of badness.
Allah muhafaza etsin şerlerinden.
May Allah Almighty protect us from their evil.
Kim olursa olsun yani.
And this may apply to anyone.
Bazen bu insan çok büyük bir insandır.
Sometimes this may apply to a very important person.
Çok bir fayda yaptı bize. Şu yaptı, bu yaptı.
And when people speak about that person, they may describe that person as someone who did so many good things to us.
O mühim değil.
But in reality, these things do not matter.
Mühim olan Allah'tan korktu mu?
What is important is whether that person you describe is fearful of Allah Almighty or not.
Allah'a isyan etti mi?
Is that person fearful of Allah Almighty? Does that person obey Allah Almighty's orders, or does he oppose Allah Almighty's orders?
İnsanlara doğru yolu gösterdi mi?
Does that person show people the right way?
Yoldan çıkarttı mı?
Or does that people make people go astray?
Mühim olan odur.
This is what matters.
Allah Azze ve Celle onunla beraber, ondan korkanla beraberdir. Ötekiler istediği gibi
Allah Almighty is with those who are fearful of Him.
Dünyanın en büyük adamı olsun.
Nothing else matters. A person may be the greatest person in this world, the richest person in this world.
En küçük adamı olsun.
Or he may be just the smallest, tiniest person in the world.
Mühim değil.
Nothing of this matters.
Mühim olan Allah'la beraber olmak.
All that counts is whether someone is with Allah Almighty or not.
Allah onlarla beraber olanlardan olmaktır mühim olan.
All that is important is to be among those and to be one of those who are with Allah Almighty, to be those fearful ones.
Öteki şeyler hiç mühim değil.
All these other things have no importance at all.
Dünya dünyada kalacak.
The matters and materials and the things of this world will remain in this world.
İster zengin ol, ister fakir ol, ister
Whether you're poor or rich,
nerede olursan olsun,
whatever you are,
Allah seninle beraberse sen kurtarmışsın.
the only means for you to be saved is whether you are with Allah Almighty.
Öteki türlü bütün dünya senin olmuş.
Otherwise, there's no benefit or no value. Even if you possess the entire world,
Hiçbir faydası yok.
you will gain no benefit out of this.
Allah'tan korkalım.
Let us be fearful of Allah Almighty.
Allah'tan ihsan dileyelim.
And let us ask Allah Almighty for His divine favors and divine gifts.
Çünkü bu işler Allah'ın sevdiği yaptığımız işler onun ihsanıyla olur.
Because we must be aware that the only way to do things which Allah Almighty loves is by means of Allah Almighty. It is by the grace of Allah Almighty that we are enabled to do things that He loves.
İmtihan da öteki türlü. Allah muhafaza etsin imtihan etmesin gibi.
And may Allah Almighty not test us. May Allah Almighty protect us.
Amin Allah tavfik. Fatiha.